at hand, I want to go over where I'm pulling the information for today's webinar. So if you go out to our website, which is churchwindows.com, over on the left-hand side under Church Windows Training, there's a section on workbooks. Today's topic is coming from the D102 workbook. So if I scroll down a little bit, it is right here. So basically in this workbook D102, today I'm focusing on pages 21 through 26. So we're going to be talking about the giving distribution option. We're going to be talking about adding giving accounts, adding new donors, and kind of things to do on the fly while you're working in enter donations. So that's workbook D102. You can purchase this if you want to. It is $12 if you want to purchase the downloadable version, and then it's $22 if you want it pre-printed, binder ready format sent to you in the mail. So if you feel like you want this in a hard copy, you can come out here and buy it, or we always record the webinars. They'll be available on our YouTube page by the end of the week. So depends on what format you like, but that is where you find this information. Also, Josh is listening in with me today. He's here to answer questions for you. So if you have any questions that pertain to what we're going over, please type them in the questions section on your GoToWebinar toolbar. Josh will answer them there. If you have more of a specific question or a question that's a little off topic, I do ask that you call us or shoot us an email, support@churchwindows.com, and we can get you an answer that way. All right, let's get started. So first thing we're going to talk about is something called giving distribution. You can find this right on the enter donation screen. It's going to be up here. It's going to be this little pie chart. Maybe you never noticed it. Maybe you noticed it and didn't know what its purpose was. So you can get to this giving distribution here on the pie chart, or you can come up here and get to it here as well. So the giving distribution is the way money is distributed when you're entering a donation. So you have a couple different options. You can leave it on a manual distribution, which you can see by looking right here is what it's currently set to. I think most people go with a manual distribution because that's kind of the default and you might not even know it. But manual distribution means that when you enter a donation, you have the opportunity to set which account is going to automatically pop in here down at the bottom. So, for example, if we put in a giver here, well, let me put in a date first. And then we put in Miss Jen. She's kind of my example girl for today. So if we do Jen, and we tab over to $100, we put in make up a little check number here, and then we hit tab, we're going to see that the account that's automatically going to pop in is general fund. So you have the option to decide what account is going to pop in first. So say most people give to general fund, you want that account to be the first one to fill in. You can set that by using manual distribution. As well, you can set the order that you want your accounts to appear down here below. So keep your most popular ones up here at the top. Okay, so when you have manual distribution set, and then you need to set the order you want your accounts to pop in. By doing that, you click right here on these three little dots. This is your giving account order screen, and you set the order you want these accounts to appear in. So say most people give to missions. You can highlight missions and hit the up arrow, and then missions is going to be the first account that pops in. Okay, same thing is done. You can move, if it's the holidays, people are giving to Christmas, you can pop Christmas up there temporarily and then bring it back down when you're done. You can also sort by name if you want this list alphabetical, or sort by number if you want. But when you have manual distribution set, it's important that you come in here and you set the order you want your giving accounts to pop in when you're entering people. Okay, so that's manual. Let me clear this donation. Next, we're going to talk about according to pledge. So if we click on this little pie chart, it allows us to add or change the distribution. So I'm going to hit the down arrow, and I'm going to go ahead and pick according to pledge. I'm going to close out. Now we see it's changed to according to pledge. So that means when you enter someone who has a pledge and you put in their amount, the program is going to use a percentage of that amount to credit their pledge. So, for example, let's look at Miss Jen again. Now, if I hit this little blue ribbon right here, it's going to pull up Jen's pledging information. Let me pop it down here. So we can see that Jen pledges weekly $100. She also pledges flat, so a one-time amount of $50 to save the animals. Okay, so Jen has 2 pledges. So it's going to calculate a percentage of each of these pledges for their total pledged amount to figure out how much is going to be filled in for general fund and for Save the Animals. So, for example, let's say here Jen is giving $100. We're going to tab and we're going to pop in a check number. And as you can see, it's figured out what percentage of this $100 is going to go to each of their pledge. Okay, so according to pledge, it's going to go in and it's going to figure it out. Now, if someone just has 1 pledge, it's going to take that amount and it's going to give the entire amount to whatever their pledge account is. Okay, so if you're a pledging church, it might be very beneficial for you to use according to pledge. So whenever you pop a pledger in this giver box, it's going to automatically come down here and pick their pledge account or accounts. Now, even though it's automatically plugging in the amount for you based on a percentage, you do have the option to come in and make an adjustment. So you could come in and do, I don't know, $90 here and $10 here. So you have the opportunity to overwrite the amounts that it puts in for you, but it's just kind of a handy feature that it'll already plug it in for you as well. Okay? And that is all based on percentages. So let me close this and clear this distribution. All right, let's now talk about the other option that we have here as a giving distribution, and it is called custom. Now, custom gives you the opportunity to set up how much someone gives to go to certain accounts. So, for example, the custom distribution that is from the workbook has 15% of what they give going to building, 5% of what they give going to missions, and 80% of what they give going to general fund. So if your church always has an amount that needs to go to a particular giving account, this is going to be a great option for you. So if we go ahead and go with custom, and we close this, and I'm going to go ahead and put in someone who's not a pledger. We'll go with Carolyn here. We'll put in $100, and as you see, as soon as I hit tab, it's automatically going to take the amount of the donation and split it into those 3 percentages, so an amount goes to each giving account. Okay, so that's how custom works. It's pretty slick. If you don't need custom, or you don't need according to pledge, if you're not a pledging church, you can then just go with manual. That seems to be the most common one, and then you set the account order that you want, like I showed you in the beginning. All right, so let's quickly touch on that account order again. Let's go back to manual here. Oh, let me clear this. Okay, so back to manual. We're going to go back to Miss Carolyn. We're going to put in $100. And like I said, to adjust the account order, I just want to touch on this one more time, you can click this 3 little dots button here. Or you can come up to the top under Accounts and Pledges and go to Order Accounts, and you can make the same adjustment here. It's the exact same screen, it's just 2 different ways to get to it. But from here, like I said, if it's Christmas and you need to move this up, you can pop this up in the list and make it more readily available for you when you're entering donations. Okay. All right, so let's go on to adding a giving account. You also have this handy little green plus sign here. If you hit this little green plus sign, it's going to open up the Add Giving Account screen. So this is a fast and easy way to add accounts on the fly. So the example in the book is for setting up a new account here. Let me find it. It's called Free Will Offering for Clergy. So we're going to go with what the workbook does. So we're going to give it the ID of 170. And then we're going to type in the name of the giving account. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to show this detail information. So this is a way you can go in and specifically set the criteria up for this giving account. So by default, these three things are going to be checked. This just means, do you want this account to print on a giving statement? Most of the time you are, so that's going to automatically be checked. Is giving to this account tax deductible? For this case it is. Is this a pledgeable account? So if you want people to be able to pledge to this giving account, you can leave this checked. If this account is never going to be a pledgeable account, then you can remove that check mark. This box also gives you the option to set the default pledge frequency to this specific pledge account. You don't have to put anything in there, but if people are going to give to this and it has to be quarterly, you can go in and pick that if you want. There's also a place to type in comments. Now, if you use the accounting module, you can easily come right here to this accounting links tab, and you can go in and you can set your debit and your credit right here on the fly if you want to. So there's our debit account, there's our credit account. So when I transfer this money that goes to this free will offering for clergy, this is the debit, this is the credit account I want. And you can go ahead and hit OK. We want to save it. Oops, what are we telling me? Number's already in use. Let's try a different number. All right, let's go big here. I can't imagine that one's in use. Nope, looks like I already have the account. So I'm going to clear this out then. Oops, hold on one second. Let me change the name. See if that works. There we go. Bingo. Okay, so we just called it Free Will Clergy. But regardless, you could easily put in the account name, you can easily put in the ID and link it to accounting all while you're entering donations. All right, so let me go ahead and clear this out. Our next topic is going to be adding a giver. So when you're entering donations, someone new gives to the church. You can easily come in on this screen and put that person in. So to do that, you want to focus right here next to the giver box with this green little plus sign. So if we click this plus sign, we need to specify where we want to put this person. So if we choose Add Member, that's going to put this person into Membership Members. If we choose Add Visitor, it's going to put them into Membership Visitors. If we go with Add Donations Individual Giver, that's going to put them only in donations as an individual. If we go with Add Donations Group, that's only going to put them into donations as a group giver. So keep in mind, these top two options are going to create people over in membership. These bottom two options are only going to put people in donations. So if you choose these bottom two options, this is not going to put them in on the membership side of things. These two options are good if you have a group that you don't want to put in over in membership, or this option is good if you have an individual that's come, maybe they came to a memorial service or a funeral and they already have a church home and they're not going to join your church. You don't need to get them over in membership. It's real easy to put them right here in donations. All right, but for this example, we're going to go with visitors. Say we have a new person visiting us and they've made a donation. We're going to put them into the visitor module. And as this screen works, you're going to see that it's actually going to open up a screen that you've probably seen if you work in membership. So what you're going to do is choose New Family. You can also choose Existing if you want to put this new person into an already existing family over in membership. You're going to put in their mailing label. I'll just do me. Klein family. If you know their address, you're going to put all that information in, home phone. If you don't know that information yet, that's okay. Make sure you have a mailing label. Then you're going to put in their name information. Also, it's really important too that you plug in this include on directory and directory report order field. This field is crucial in version 19 for running reports. So I'm going to go ahead and say for now, I don't need to see Rachel in the directory, but I do need to plug in her directory report order or who she is in the family. So since she's the only person I'm putting in, I'm going to give her a 1 for primary. And then you just click OK. And now Rachel Klein has a V for visitor, and now you're able to plug in the donation for her. All right, next option is going to be putting in a donations individual. So this is somebody that you plug in right to donations. I want to show you this as well. This screen is going to look a little different than the one for membership, but it functions very much the same. So giver number, if you want to plug in a giver number at this time, you can. Donations doesn't require you to use giver numbers. So if it's a new person, you don't need to give them one if you don't want to. By default, receive statement is going to be checked. So if they're needing a statement, leave it. If they're not needing a statement, you can uncheck that. And then you're going to come in here and you're going to plug in first, last name, whatever you know. And then if you have an address information, you can plug that in. If you know their contact information, like a cell phone, email, you can put that in. Make sure you get a first and last name in, though. You can hit Add Giver. The screen will blank out. You can then put in another person, or once you're done, if you just have the one person to put in, hit Finished Adding Givers. And now we have Mitch Smith in here. He has a D because he is in fact a donations giver, and now you can work on and put his donation in. All right, so there's one more thing I want to talk to you about. It's called prior system donations. This is something that is not utilized very often, but it is a feature that's in the program. So let me show you where you get to that and what it does. You go into Pledges. And then you go into this Pledges by Giver tab. The Prior System Donations button is right here. There's a little paragraph in here in the workbook that I want to go over. It basically says if you're new to Church Windows, you have money that you would like to be recorded as being donated towards a currently running pledge that was received when you were using a different system, you could enter that information into donations on this prior system donation screen. The purpose of this screen is to keep track of all the money donated to a pledge which has, prior to this, been tracked outside of this software. The information entered on the screen will not be recorded as transactions and donations. It is assumed that you received that money prior to Church Windows. So, the main purpose of this screen is if you used another software or didn't use software, but pledging was tracked in an outside, something outside of Church Windows. So that's the only time you would really need to come in and use this screen. It's specifically for pledging when you need to put money in to credit a pledge, but you don't want to make transactions for it in the donations module. Okay, so what you would do if this is something you would need to use, you would pick the giver here. We'll go with Jack. You would pick Jack's pledge. We'll go, let me make this bigger. We'll go with this one. You would put in the amount that he gave to this pledge. Remember, this is prior to when you had donation or when you had Church Windows. You could put in a reference number if you wanted to. Any comments and add it. So what this is going to do is it's not going to make a transaction like if you went into browse, but it is going to credit their pledge $50. Okay. So that is how prior system donations works. It might not apply to anyone listening to this webinar, but it is a feature in there and it's really helpful for those people who need it. All right, that covers all my information I had for you. Looks like I'm almost exactly at 20 minutes, which is awesome. If anyone has questions, feel free to type those in over there on the questions tab, and I'll be happy to help answer them for you. If you're done, you got what you needed, feel free to sign out. That is fine as well. All right. I'll give another minute or two here. But like I said, if you got what you needed, feel free to sign out. The webinar should be up on our YouTube page by the end of the week if you'd like to rewatch it or share it with somebody you work with. Christy, let me peek at your last question here. If you're ending an individual in an existing family, is there a way to... Christy, there's not yet. I believe that's coming in the next version. But if you come in here and you hit add and go to add individual, oops, sorry, wrong one. Go to add visitor. If you choose existing family here, I think this is what you're asking. I don't believe this search works. No, you have to actually scroll through the list. This is how it is in membership too if you transfer an individual into an existing household. I believe this is getting updated though, so keep an eye out for that. But for the time being, if you're entering someone into an existing family, you do have to scroll through the list. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close up the webinar. If you come up with something else after I end it, just shoot us an email or give us a call. I hope you learned something new today that will help make your job a little easier. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.